Hello everyone, Weather Jamaica here. Welcome to this updated video on the weather across Jamaica and the rest of the Caribbean. It is Friday evening, November 15, 2024. Now before we jump into it, please ensure that you guys like the video. I'd really appreciate it if you guys get this video up to 100 likes. If you don't know by now, that's how the YouTube algorithm works. We all like the video and then the YouTube algorithm pushes the video out to more persons who are in the path of these tropical systems so that we can keep everyone safe, especially during the peak months of Atlantic hurricane season, that's August through to October. Share this video with your friends, your co-workers, your relatives, and even your church brethren, and subscribe if you haven't yet done so. Leave a comment down below, let me know what the weather's been like in your area recently. Also, feel free to ask any weather related question that you might have about the future of the weather in your specific area. Alright, so let us take a look at the U.S. National Hurricane Center 7-day graphical tropical weather look, and we can see that as of their latest update that just came out at 6:31 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So this just came out 20 minutes ago. We can see that all we have across the Atlantic is Tropical Storm Sarah that is still battering the coast of Honduras as we speak. And if we take a look at the latest infrared satellite images associated with Sarah, we can definitely make out the spin associated with the center of circulation somewhere in here. For sure, you can definitely make out that spin. You can also make out the deep convection right here on the western side of that spin. Look at the reds, the blacks, the grays, the pinks. Definitely some heavy rainfall lashing that section on the northwestern coastline of Honduras. For reference, we can see the coastline of Guatemala, we can see Belize right here, and the Yucatan Peninsula of Mexico up here. So Belize definitely getting on some cloud cover, some rain. Some of this rainfall definitely spilling into portion of Guatemala and as far south as El Salvador, as well as into portions of Nicaragua. We can even still see a lot of thunderstorms lashing portions of the Cayman Islands associated with the outer bands of Tropical Storm Sarah. If we take a look at the latest Euro ensemble spaghetti models, we see that the system is still expected to push out towards the northwest, making it to the coastline of Belize within the next 48 hours. So the next 2 days from now, it's Friday evening, and it's still going to be sitting down here. And it's expected to move inland into Belize and then crossing the Yucatan Peninsula and then possibly making it into the Gulf of Mexico and pushing northward. And we see that the GEFS, that's the GFS ensemble spaghetti models, agrees with this, but it's making more of a westward track than a northwestward track. But it's basically still the same solution, heading back into the Gulf of Mexico. It's going to be interesting to see what's left of it when it gets back out into the Gulf of Mexico. As of right now, we can see that in terms of the intensity, still forecast to maintain tropical storm status up until it makes landfall in Belize within the next 48 hours, like the Hurricane Center has highlighted for sure. Or we're going to be seeing that shortly. But more than likely, as soon as it heads inland, the intensity will drop because we know these systems do not like land in general. They need the warm water to sustain their life, and there's going to be a lack of the warm water as soon as it gets over the land. And we can definitely see the Hurricane Center is forecast right here, maintaining tropical storm status as it pushes towards the west northwest, making it right there close to the coast of Belize by 12 a.m. on Sunday. So definitely within the next 48 hours for sure, going to be making it right there close to Belize, making it inland, and then exiting the Yucatan Peninsula as a tropical depression by 12 p.m. on Monday. As of right now, the Hurricane Center states that Sarah is packing maximum sustained winds of 50 miles per hour. So we know that tropical storms pack winds of anywhere from 39 to 73 miles per hour winds. And if it's packing 50 miles per hour wind, it's definitely a medium range tropical storm. It's not closer to 39 miles per hour. That would make it a tropical depression. And it's not closer to 73 miles per hour. That would make it a category 1 hurricane. It's definitely smack dab in the middle of tropical storm intensity as we speak. As it's hugging the coast, definitely not going to be intensifying at all because of all of that land interaction. for sure, and it's definitely not going to be weakening quickly, especially because the center of circulation is still right there, a bit over water right there on the northern coastline of Honduras. Either way, we still have the tropical storm warnings up in the blues. As we can see here by the key on the bottom, the blues represent tropical storm warning. Still up for the northern coastline of Honduras, spilling into the northeastern coastline of Guatemala, as well as all of Belize down for a tropical storm warning. So they're definitely going to be feeling the effects of this system, especially where we have the gold colors that we know represents the tropical storm force winds. And that's definitely going to be causing some power outages, internet disconnections for sure, down trees or down branches, you name it. Tropical storm force winds are definitely bad news, and it's going to be coming with a lot of heavy rainfall. The heavy rainfall has already been lashing Honduras, and we definitely have footage coming out of Twitter. This is Volcaholic on Twitter. They definitely show a lot regarding the tropics and the bad weather across the globe. We can definitely see a post here that was made. This was made this morning, highlighting the flooding that has already taken place. They've stated a catastrophic situation is unfolding in Honduras as Tropical Storm Sierra brings relentless rainfall. Goloston International Airport has already reported 437 millimeters of rainfall. That's 17 plus inches, with more expected. Northern areas may see 250 to 500 millimeters, 10 to 20 inches, and Sierra La Esperanza could exceed 750 millimeters, that's 30 inches, as the National Hurricane Center warns of life-threatening flash flooding and mudslides. And boy, it has already begun. Look at this footage coming out of Honduras. Look at the murky water rushing from right to left, boy. And the system is going to be sitting over the same spot for the next couple of days. And they're already getting in on flooding. Here's another one right here. Caribbean alert state, and this was posted when? This was posted at 6:14 p.m. this evening, so less than an hour ago. This one was posted. This is hard. A family is dragged in their vehicle. An event that occurred today in the municipality of Tocoa, department of Colon. What is happening in Honduras due to Storm Sierra is a total emergency, boy. I hope they made it out safely. My goodness, look at the car being washed away. I hope everything is alright. Let us just hope for the best. Guys, we know that when it comes to these systems, we have to turn around and try not to drown. We don't want to be caught off guard in any of these situations at all. By the way, regarding that video that we just saw, hopefully it's not anything from years ago, because you know that when it comes to these footages, they like to share old videos from years ago and claim that it's something that recently happened. So hopefully it's actually valid, even although we see that it's coming from some reputable sources. We have another post right here, Mas Noticias Television, highlighting the flooding. Let's see if we can translate this to English. Alright, it says this is what the La Joya River Bridge looks like. La Joya, Hamlet, Orica, Francisco, Moranza, and we can see the heavy water definitely making it as far as the top of the bridge. Let's hope that the water doesn't damage the bridge or wash it all away, because I'm sure that there are a lot of people who use this bridge on a daily basis. And we still have a lot more clips coming out. Another one right here in Spanish, but we can definitely see the gist. We can see all of the images here. A vehicle in some kind of river, or it might not even be a river, it could be a road, who knows. Another one right here showing damage of some kind of house, or could it be a building, whatever the case may be. Look at this one road split into two. That's crazy. And some people caught in inundation trying to be saved or rescued, whatever the case may be, boy. We just have to pray for them in advance, because this isn't over yet. We see the tropical storm is still sitting down there, and it's going to be moving slowly. Alright, so we're going to be going out to the next 7 days on both the Euro and the GFS mouse, as we usually do. Let's see what's in store for the next 7 days across the Atlantic, even after the system Sierra is done with. So we're gonna be looking right here across the Caribbean. For reference, we have Sierra right here lashing Central America. We have Jamaica right here. So let us see the moisture that's going to be taking place within the next 168 hours. On the Euro, then we're going to be looking at the latest GFS, the 18-0. So as we go out in time, as we head into Saturday, we still see a lot of moisture across portions of the Yucatan Peninsula, Belize, Guatemala, Honduras, El Salvador, Nicaragua, associated with Tropical Storm Sierra. We see some of the moisture spilling into portions of Jamaica, associated with a trough that it has induced into our area. As we continue to go out in time, we see the system still sitting down in there. As we head into Sunday, we start to see it pushing more towards the northwest into Belize, just like what the Hurricane Center had highlighted. And we see that it definitely seems to be losing its intensity. We don't see the isobars anymore. But what do we see? We see some moisture across the south central, western, and eastern Caribbean. That's basically it. So let's continue to go to the next 168 hours. Let's see what happens. Looks like we have a strong cold front coming in. Here it is affecting Florida, the western coast of Cuba, into Central America by Wednesday. Let's continue to go to in time. We're just going to be stopping at the next 168 hours. And there we go. So the line associated with the moisture from the cold front should be making it right there into portion of western Jamaica by next Friday. So that's the next 7 days. 7 days from now is next Friday for sure. And more than likely, if this cold front makes it to our area, there might just be some cool air right behind it. Yes, it's that time of year when we're starting to get in the cold or the cooler than average temperatures for sure. And as we know, these cold fronts usually come with rainfall, especially for northern Jamaica that have already been plagued for the past month with a lot of rainfall. St. Mary, Portland, they can't catch a break, and they're heading into their very rainy season. Or dry season on the south coast is their wet season on the north coast. My goodness, they don't stop, especially in St. Mary and Portland. Alright, let's continue. Let's look at the latest 18-0 run of the GFS. Let us see if we have any agreements. Alright, so as we head into Saturday, let's stop right here at Saturday. Yes, we have the moisture across Jamaica. We have the moisture associated with Sierra. Going into Sunday, much of the same. Hopefully, we can dry or close. Let's continue to go in time. Something similar to what the Euro was showing with the moisture across the southern Caribbean, the western Caribbean, and the eastern Caribbean. Let's continue to go out in time. Here we go. The frontal system right here into Florida, western Cuba, the Yucatan Peninsula by Wednesday. Let's continue to go out in time. And then we're going to be stopping right here at the next 168 hours. Alright. So clearly we have some differences. The Euro has the frontal system, more so especially across western Jamaica into the Cayman Islands and Honduras, while the GFS has it more so to the west of Jamaica. You see the moisture associated with it affecting Cuba, the Cayman Islands, and Honduras right there. So we have some differences, but we have some similarities in general. So there's definitely a frontal system coming. We have to wait for tomorrow's run to see if it will actually make it here. I'm only working with the next 7 days, even although I can skip ahead, but we know that usually when we skip ahead in time, the chances are not so certain that these things might happen. So let's just stick with the next 168 hours to see what will unfold. I want to give anybody any high hopes of any cold front coming right now. It looks like it's coming, but we know these models can definitely change within the next 7 days. And clearly we don't see any more systems formulating across the Atlantic either. We don't see any more isobars, anything spinning, no L's that represents areas of low pressure within the next 7 days. And we're indeed grateful. We don't need Tony, Valerie, or William right now. Let us just wrap this up with Sierra and be done with the hurricane season. And we can definitely see the amount of rainfall here that's expected within the next 7 days. This map from the GFS and this map from the Euro, they're both showing all the rainfall that's expected from now up until November 17. Am I right? Hold on, I think there's a mistake on this one. Is it? Let's update it because it's alright. There we go. Now it's looking more like accumulated precipitation for the next 7 days. As I was like, why is the Euro showing more rainfall? Alright, there we go. Alright, so we can clearly see that within the next 7 days, the most in the way of rainfall should be definitely across here. And that's definitely in part all courtesy of Sierra, lashing Guatemala, El Salvador, Nicaragua, Costa Rica, Panama getting on their usual rainfall, Honduras for sure, Belize, the Yucatan Peninsula definitely in for a lot of rainfall. We can see the usual bout of rainfall for a section of western Venezuela, Colombia, Panama as usual. Some rainfall associated with the frontal system that has been plaguing portion of the Leeward Islands still to come. We can also see some rainfall associated with moisture from the intertropical convergence zone spreading into portions of the Windward Islands right there. And we can definitely see that both the Euro and the GFS models are in consensus with this forecast, while we're seeing more greens, yellows, and oranges elsewhere that we know represents from 0.2 of an inch of rainfall all the way up to 0.75 of an inch of rainfall. Either way, anything close to an inch or more than an inch can definitely cause some amount of isolated flash flooding. So I hope everybody is on their P's and Q's. And regarding the rainfall across Jamaica, let us take a look at the close-up. Alright, so let's load up the GFS. Alright, so the GFS accumulated and the Euro accumulated. Clearly the Euro has less rainfall within the next 7 days for Jamaica. We see more blues, especially across central and eastern Jamaica, that represents anywhere from 0.1 millimeters of rainfall all the way up to 15 millimeters. Especially western Jamaica getting on the dark blues, greens, yellows, that represents anywhere from 15 all the way up to maybe 30, maybe 35, 40 millimeters of rainfall. The GFS with the accumulated precipitation has more of the rainfall, especially on the southwestern side of the island in the yellows, anywhere from 30 to 35 millimeters of rainfall across St. Elizabeth, Westmoreland section of Hanover. More so greens across central and eastern Jamaica within the next 7 days. Either way, you know, most of these rainfall most of the rain will take place during the afternoon hours. As a matter of fact, there's already rainfall affecting the island as we speak, courtesy of the trough that has been induced by tropical storm Saharan. We're going to be talking more about that shortly. If we take a look at the surface map of the Atlantic for this evening, we can see a frontal system right here across portions of Florida. We can see another frontal system right here stretching all the way from the northern portion of North Atlantic all the way down into portion of the northern Caribbean. And we can see the ridges of high pressure across the Atlantic in general that we know are responsible for sending all of the easterly trade winds across the main development region into the Caribbean. And we can make out the intertropical convergence zone right here. We know that's where the air from the northern hemisphere meets the air from the southern hemisphere, and then we have a lot of rising air bringing a lot of cloud showers and thunderstorms to the area. And if we take a look at the visible satellite images, we can definitely make out all of these entities, the clouds associated with the frontal system affecting portions of Florida and the northern Bahamas. We can make out the clouds associated with that other frontal system reaching all the way down into portion of the northern Caribbean. We can make out the clouds associated with Sierra and the trough that is induced across portions of Jamaica right there, stretching all the way into Central America, lots of cloud showers and thunderstorms. And we can make out the clouds associated with the intertropical convergence zone right here from all the way from Africa all across the main development region southern portion into portions of the Windward Islands. And we can definitely make out some of this moisture pushing in from east to west across section of the Windward Islands as we speak. We'll be talking more about the rest of the Caribbean weather later on. Let us focus our attention on the prediction that was made in yesterday's video about the weather across Jamaica for today, Friday, November 15, 2024. It was stated that parts of some southern parishes would have received some morning rainfall on Friday, and then would have had some afternoon rainfall across mainly northern parishes during the afternoon, but we were still going to be getting in on some rainfall across southern parishes for sure. So it's not like the southern parishes rainfall would have ended at all. And we know southern parishes, we're talking about those parishes like Westmoreland, St. Elizabeth, Manchester, Clarendon, St. Catherine, Kingston, St. Andrew, and St. Thomas. Northern parishes, you know, we're talking about those parishes on top like Hanover, St. James, Trelawney, St. Ann, St. Mary, and Portland. And what ended up happening. Even although no post was made in the morning, we definitely had some isolated showers when I checked across sections of St. Thomas, sections of Portland for sure, maybe southern areas of Clarendon got on some rainfall. But when this was posted at around 12:40 p.m., so it was in the early afternoon, a post was made here on our Twitter page, Weather Jamaica. And I'd like for you to keep in mind that these posts aren't only made here on our Twitter page, but they're also made on our Instagram page, weather.jamaica, on our TikTok page, Weather Jamaica, and on our Facebook page, Weather Jamaica 876. So if you have one of those social media platforms, please ensure that you follow us there as we make posts throughout the day that you can't afford to miss. So the the Cuban Doppler radar images were posted at around 12:40 p.m. highlighting the greens that we can see, especially coming into portion of some southern parishes, section of Clarendon, coming into sections of Manchester, section of St. Elizabeth, the southern portion. We also had some of the action across section of St. Thomas and Portland. And we know the greens represent the moderado, that in Spanish is translated to moderate rainfall to English. And as the afternoon progressed, the visible satellite image was posted at around 2:16, highlighting the clouds. Look at where the clouds were located. Definitely across, especially northern St. Thomas, northeastern St. Andrew, Portland, section of St. Mary, St. Anne, Trelawney, section of St. James, Hanover, section of Westmoreland, northern St. Elizabeth, sections of Manchester, section of Clarendon, getting on some of the isolated shore activity. Then at around 4:15 p.m. the infrared satellite image was posted, and we know the infrared satellite image shows the high cold cloud tops associated with these cumulonimbus clouds. We know the reds, the blacks into the grays definitely represent that deep convection, and we can also see the sparkling white dots that we know represent some amount of lightning strikes, if not lightning flashes, right there off the coast of St. Anne, right there across portions of Clarendon, northwestern St. Catherine, section of the cockpit country, southern St. James, northern St. Elizabeth. So too sections of Hanover and Westmoreland definitely gotten on the thunderstorm activity as well. And if we take a look at the visible satellite images before all was said and done with the day, we can definitely make out that low level flow of the clouds from the southeast. Then we had the clouds building, and then we had the upper level winds pushing those high cold cloud tops off towards the east southeast in general. And we can see it all even better on the infrared satellite images. Look at the thunderstorms that were especially lashing sections of some northern and western parishes for sure. And we saw a little glitch right there, but we definitely make out that sections of Westmoreland definitely gotten on some strong thunderstorms. Sections of Hanover, sections of St. James gotten on some of the action too. Trelawney, section of St. Elizabeth, sections of Clarendon, St. Catherine for sure, but not so much across the corporate area, because if we take a look here at the crossroads cam from See Jamaica's YouTube channel showing 2:30 p.m. today, definitely sunny conditions for the most part across the southern and eastern sections of the island. People walking about, going about their business, people in their vehicles going about their business. But we can definitely make out some thick, darkish, grayish clouds in the hills of northern St. Andrew. Definitely see some rainfall in there as well across portion of the hills. Some rainfall right here next to this cell phone tower right there looking towards the northwest. Definitely had some decent rainfall in the hills for sure, not so much down here on the flat. And I'd like for you to keep in mind that if you'd like to see more live streams like this, you can just see this YouTube channel, that's See Jamaica, and they show the live streams of not only Crossroads but halfway through the Kingston Harbor, the panoramic city view, Barbican, Flat Bridge in St. Catherine, yes, Flat Bridge, and they show it all day every day for your viewing pleasure for free. Just open up the YouTube app on your phone, you all have it, it's right there in your phone. YouTube, big red icon as you can see here at the top left. Open it up, type in See Jamaica or type in Crossroads Live or Halfway Tree Live. You'll definitely see it come up for your viewing pleasure. And I suggest that you also subscribe, because they're planning on increasing the amount of cameras that they have across the island. So I'd definitely subscribe if I were you, just in case they install a camera near your house or near your place of work. Alright, so let's just take a look at the accumulated precipitation for the past 24 hours from the Caribbean Institute from Meteorology and Geology website. This map does indeed paint a picture of where we had that rainfall today, especially across northern parishes during the afternoon. Sections of Portland, St. Mary, St. Anne, Trelawney, St. James, Hanover, section of Westmoreland, St. Elizabeth, Manchester, Clarendon, St. Catherine definitely got in on most of the rainfall for sure. We definitely have some comments here to confirm the rainfall. We have Vanessa Nicholson here on our Facebook page stating the rains have started in Hanover. We have Esther Retze stating rain in St. Mary. We have Sylvia Bando stating rain in Brownstown, St. Anne. And even on our Instagram page, we had the comments coming in. Madeline_Lucrezia stating rain in St. Anne, North Coast. We also have Cads Bark stating rain just started in my side of Maypen. Edwards Tenisha stating got showers in South Manchester, heavy for short time. So that indeed confirms the rainfall across section of the island today, just as predicted. And if we take a look at the very latest still image, let us see what's happening across the island right now. Alright, so the latest still image just came out at 005 UTC. So considering that it is 7:17 p.m. right now, this just came out at 7:05 p.m. And we can definitely make out some strong thunderstorms out to sea to the west of the island. But we can also make out some thunderstorms right here across the southwestern portion of the island. Wherever we see the sparkling white dots, we know there are some lightning strikes or lightning flashes. And it's usually right in there that we're getting in on some rainfall. So there's definitely some rainfall taking place across sections of southern St. Elizabeth, southern Manchester as well. And we can definitely match that to the latest Cuban Doppler radar images. Let us reload these images so that we have the very latest, because it seems that the last image was as of 6:30 p.m. So let's see if we can get an image all the way up to at least 7 o'clock or 7:10 as soon as it loads. Still reloading. Alright, there we go. So the latest image is as of, alright, so it's 7:10, no problem. We can definitely make out the rainfall that portions of Manchester and St. Elizabeth are getting as we speak. We see the greens, we see the yellows, and we know the greens represent moderate rainfall. That's moderado in Spanish. Fuerte in the yellows represents strong or heavy rainfall. And it's definitely heading into portions of Manchester, St. Elizabeth as we speak. Some action taking place across section of Westmoreland, Hanover, St. James as we speak. Lots of rainfall across those areas right now. And the thing about this rainfall, the trough is definitely stationary in a sense, and it's definitely gonna be lingering and bringing more rainfall. Wouldn't be surprised if we get more rainfall tonight into tomorrow across the very same spots, especially during the afternoon hours. This could definitely trigger some amount of isolated flash flooding across some areas. And don't be surprised if I actually go live, if not tonight, maybe tomorrow for sure, if some of this rainfall makes it far east into portions of maybe Kingston, St. Andrew or St. Thomas where I live. If we take a look at the Guantanamo Bay Cuban naval radar imagery, we don't see much happening across eastern Cuba. Some rainfall across eastern Jamaica, maybe section of eastern Portland, and we can also make out some rainfall across sections of the western peninsula of Haiti. If we take a look at the Cayman radar, yes, we can also make out that rainfall across western Jamaica that we saw in the Cuban Doppler radar images, and we can make out some rainfall in the greens and the yellows heading into portions of Grand Cayman as we speak. There's definitely some amount of isolated flash flooding taking place across that island right now because of the rainfall that they're experiencing, and they're going to continue to get in on this throughout the night tonight. But as of right now, we don't see much happening. The latest cam, the live stream 7:20, See Jamaica's YouTube channel showing live streams of Flatbridge. Can definitely see dry conditions, nothing significant, no rainfall, no water rushing, definitely calm for now, but that could definitely change within the next couple of hours or within the next day or so. We're still going to be getting in on some amount of rainfall, all courtesy of the trough induced by the system that's affecting Honduras tropical storm Sarah. If we take a look at the temperatures right now, we can see that we have 26 degrees Celsius in Montego Bay, 25 degrees Celsius in Kingston, and by about 4 a.m. on Saturday, temperature should dip down to about 25 degrees Celsius in Montego Bay, 24 degrees Celsius in Kingston. Taking a look at the temperature forecast for tomorrow, this map from the GFS is valid for 18Z on Saturday when calculated. That's 1 p.m. on Saturday, and we can see Jamaica right here embedded in yellow colors. And we can see from the key on the right, the yellow colors are representative of at least 1 degree Celsius above normal temperatures. And we know the normal temperatures for the month of November across Jamaica are around 88 degrees Fahrenheit. When calculated, 88 degrees Fahrenheit is about the same as 31.1 degrees Celsius. So we should be receiving anywhere from 31 to 32 degrees Celsius at most for Jamaica's temperature on Saturday. And if that's a bit too hot for you, you know the drill. Please ensure that you seek shade when you're outside to beat the heat. Eat fresh. Try eating cold food such as salads and fruits. Rest. Make sure you get enough sleep and rest if you're feeling tired. So take a cool shower or bath to help you cool down. And I cannot stress enough how important it is to always stay hydrated throughout the day. Drink water. Put away the sugary drinks. Drink water instead. If we take a look at the Saharan dust forecast for 2 p.m. on Saturday, we can still make out that North America, the Bahamas, the Caribbean, South America, Central America are definitely in the clear, as all the browns that represent the Saharan dust should be across Africa and the waters of the main development region, even spilling into the northern portion of North Atlantic. And we see that it's more so on the lighter shade of brown, and we see more blues in between, so it's definitely dwindling as we speak, and that's what we like to see. We don't like that vigorous plume that's represented by the dark brown that we know can cause very hazy skies and trigger some amount of respiratory illnesses, asthma, sinusitis in some persons. So let the Saharan dust dwindle, let it dwindle forever. If we take a look at the wave forecast for tomorrow, much of the same as yesterday. The highest wave heights across the Caribbean should be in the western portion of the Caribbean, where we have Sierra churning up the waters with their strong wind right there off the coast of Belize and the Yucatan Peninsula of Mexico, while we have more lighter shades of blues across the central to the eastern Caribbean to the southwestern Caribbean. That one represents anywhere from 0.5 for meter wave height all the way up to 1 meter wave height, so it's definitely good for the fishermen out at sea. So, and we know that's all because the winds are going to be averaging anywhere from 5 to 10 knots at most. We can see the flow across the eastern Caribbean from the southeast curving towards the northeast across sections of the Leeward Islands, including Puerto Rico. And we can see the winds coming in more so from the northeast between the Windward Passage, curving westward to the north of Jamaica, more of a southerly or southeasterly flow to the south of Jamaica, as everything is starting to wrap around that center of circulation associated with Sierra in the western Caribbean. And if we take a closer look at that island of Jamaica, let us see what's happening. Clearly for tomorrow, well, I don't even know what to say. I'm seeing two different solutions on the Euro and the GFS malls. Let us work with at least 2 p.m. So 1400 hours. Let's see, 2 p.m. because that's by for sure when we're going to be getting on that afternoon convection. Alright, so we have some differences, we have some problems. The forecast might be a bit tricky. It might be a bit tricky, but I'm going to be working with what the GFS is showing. We can definitely see that we're going to be getting in on more of a northeasterly flow across especially the northern portion of the island, the western portion of the island. We can also make out more of an easterly flow across eastern portion of the island, curving in like this. And we can also make out that the winds are going to be weakest on the southern portions of the island right there. That's according to the GFS. But the Euro is showing more of a solution where it's going to be more of an easterly kind of flow all across the island. So more than likely the air would be piling up across central and western Jamaica. And we know wherever the air piles up or wherever we have the least amount of winds, that's where we have that daytime heating contributing to that diurnal convection. So let's see if the Euro winds with more of a central and western parishes kind of thing, or let's see if the GFS winds with more of a southern Jamaica kind of thing. Either way, in terms of the rainfall forecast, we can see that Even as we head into 4 a.m. on Saturday, as a matter of fact, the rain is already taking place as we speak, so it wouldn't be surprising that it continues throughout the night tonight into tomorrow morning, especially across sections of some southern and western parishes. And we see that as of 4 a.m., we can make out the blues represent rainfall across western Jamaica, sections of northern Jamaica on the Euro. GFS trying to bring more of the rainfall into southern Jamaica with the blues right there. We'll see exactly what unfolds. Skipping ahead to about 12 p.m. on Saturday now, the Euro and the GFS are showing some blues that represent rainfall across portions of the island, more so southern and eastern portions on the GFS. The Euro showing eastern, central, and western parishes getting in on the action. Let's skip ahead to 4 p.m. now. Let us see what both of them are showing for the afternoon. As I've stated, the afternoon is going to be a bit tricky, but clearly the Euro and the GFS have the blues that represent rainfall across eastern, central, and western parishes. The GFS a bit more robust with the darker shades of blues across sections of some southern parishes, even some greens in there. So maybe that's in response to the low level wind forecast for sure. Euro is a bit more reserved with the rainfall more so on the lighter shades of blue side, and we see that most of it should be on the western end of the island. Definitely an interesting day. My bet is on what the GFS is showing though, with more of the rainfall during the afternoon across section of some southern parishes. So look out for some rainfall. There's definitely gonna be some rainfall, especially with that flow of the wind. We can definitely see it. Wind starting to come in from the north. So more than likely all of the air could be piling up on the southern sides of the island. We see it kind of curving here on the Euro model, so that makes the forecast a bit tricky. But it's definitely on its way to be, doing something like what the GFS is showing. We see it here by the end of the day on Saturday. So I'm more inclined to believe what the GFS is showing for the rainfall forecast for sure. And we can see even as we head into 7 p.m. on Saturday, we're still getting in on some amount of rainfall across portions of the island from east to the west. And even the accumulated precipitation forecast maps are in consensus that it's going to be raining somewhere across Jamaica within the next 24 hours. This map from the Euro, this map from the GFS and this map from the Euro are both showing that sections of especially western Jamaica and southwestern Jamaica should be getting on the brunt of the rainfall from now up until 10 p.m. on Saturday. We see the reds represent up to 1 inch of rainfall. We see the oranges into the yellows across central and eastern Jamaica. That represent anywhere from 0.71 all the way back down to 0.44 of an inch of rainfall. Clearly, the Euro is showing less rainfall than the GFS. Tomorrow is going to be quite an interesting day weather-wise. And in terms of the amount of rainfall that we usually receive for the month of November, we know that in Kingston we usually receive up to 50 millimeters of rainfall for the month of November. That's 2 inches of rainfall in Montego Bay. We usually receive close to 5 inches of rainfall for the month of November. That's about 125 millimeters of rainfall. And I'd like for you to keep in mind that if you'd like to find out what your specific parish receives throughout the year, you can visit weatherandclimate.com, and that website will show you that information. And you can use this nice little graphic right here that does the calculations for you. We know that when rainfall is collected on the rain gauge, 1 inch of rainfall is about the same as 25 millimeters of rainfall, so you can do the math yourself. Alright, so that's it for the forecast across Jamaica. Let us focus our attention on the rest of the Caribbean. So as stated, we have the frontal system bringing some amount of clouds, some showers into portion of the southern section of Florida, the Bahamas, Cuba, sections of Haiti, the Dominican Republic getting in on some of the action, so too Puerto Rico, the US and British Virgin Islands. We can also see some clouds coming into section of Guyana, Venezuela, section of Costa Rica, Nicaragua, Honduras, El Salvador, Guatemala, Belize, the Yucatan Peninsula, the Cayman Islands getting on some amount of rainfall associated with Sierra. Lots of cloud showers and thunderstorms in the portion of Venezuela, Guyana right there. And if we take a look at the Doppler radar images of the northeastern Caribbean, we can definitely see that the frontal system is doing a number on these islands up here Anywhere from Puerto Rico eastward, we can definitely see that the latest Doppler radar as of 7:20 is showing rainfall across western, southern, and eastern Puerto Rico. We can make out some rainfall into the section of St. Martin, St. Kitts and Nevis. And if we load these images from earlier today, we can definitely see some rainfall coming in more so from the southwest into sections of western and central and northern Puerto Rico. We can make out some rainfall to the south of the U.S. Virgin Islands, some rainfall coming into sections of St. Martin. We can also make out on the Barbados radar not much is taking place across Barbados, St. Lucia, or Martinique, or Dominica right now, but most of the isolated heat or mist showers are passing just to the south of Barbados, pushing westward. Section of the Grenadine Islands getting on some isolated light showers, nothing too drastic. Scrolling down, we can make out some of this rainfall definitely affecting portion of Tobago, and some of this rainfall has already been affecting sections of Honduras. And if we take a look at the wider view of Doppler radar images, we can see all that rainfall that we saw on the Cayman radar, definitely lashing portion of the Cayman Islands, some rainfall between, well, to the east of Nicaragua, all courtesy of the outer band from Sierra. We can also make out some rainfall across Colombia, section of Venezuela as well. And regarding where the rainfall is expected within the next 24 hours, this map from the GFS and this map from the Euro both showing all the rainfall that's expected from now up until 10 p.m. on Saturday. And we can definitely make out some rainfall across sections of Hispaniola, Haiti, the Dominican Republic, Puerto Rico, the US and British Virgin Islands, sections of St. Martin, St. Kitts and Nevis, Anguilla, Antigua and Barbuda. We can also make out some rainfall into Barbados, Trinidad and Tobago, sections of Guyana, Venezuela, the ABC Islands, sections of Colombia, Panama, Costa Rica, Nicaragua, Honduras, El Salvador, Guatemala, Belize, and the Yucatan Peninsula for sure. And we see that both the Euro and the GFS models are definitely in consensus with this forecast. I know that when they're in consensus like this, the chances of it actually happening are much higher. Alright, so that's it for today. Thanks for watching.